Hi everybody. Looks like we're live. Hang on, I think I've got my camera crooked. It looks like it's going. Let me see what I can do here. There, I think that's better. All right, how are we doing on YouTube? Let me see if I can find where I can see the comments here. There we go. All right. I'm going to wait for a little bit and, well, actually I'll get my phone going so I can see comments on Facebook. And if you sign in on YouTube, let me know that you're there. And I think I ended up being able to cheat and figured out a workaround for the YouTube. So I'm hoping we can use my good camera then. Hey Valerie, Connie, Catherine, how are you guys? Did you get something to eat? All right, I hope YouTubers are there. And I got lots of questions about signing on and that kind of thing. So if you didn't get your question answered, I apologize. I think I went through text list, Facebook, email, and YouTube. I hope I got them all. Hey Diane. Oh, I am too. I am too. Hey Donna. There's Joanne. Yvette. Thank you guys for being here. Kristen. All right. I'm ready. I'm going to wait for a little bit though. Looking to see if I've got anybody on YouTube. It's a little cumbersome. Like I said, I love YouTube, don't get me wrong. Actually, if I had to choose, I'd be doing YouTube only, but I started out on Facebook. That's where my biggest audience is, so of course I've got to stay there. But this live thing, the private live thing, that was a little bit tricky, but I hope I got it lined out. So, hey Margaret, welcome. Thank you for being here. Hey Sue. And there's Beth. Donna, another Donna. All right. All right, well, we'll sit here and wait for just a little bit, let some people filter in, because I know I started a little bit early because there's always a lag on YouTube. And so sometimes when I start both at the same time, the YouTube people miss out on a little bit that the Facebook people got. So, oh, Sharon, okay, you be careful. Hope Mom's okay. There's Phyllis. All right, we have lots to cover on this section, and I wanted to be sure I tell you. You know, what I'm telling you is not all inclusive. This is just a basic overview, what we're going to cover right now. And, you know, I mean, I'm telling you my opinion, what I've learned over the years, and there might be some things you don't agree with, and that's okay. I mean, that's what makes the world go round, right? My taste is not going to be necessarily yours, and vice versa. So just know that there's no hard, fast rules. And I always tell people, if you like it, then go for it, you know. And somebody else might do it completely different than I do, and again, that's okay. So, hey, Pauletta. I see Ethel May, you made it. Good deal. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. First off, you know, if you missed the first part or first session this morning, I started out by saying, you know, one of my favorite quotes is that if you know, it kind of goes along with what I was just talking about, is if you, I'm going to give you these basic principles and rules, so to speak, rules with quotation marks, but, you know, I was taught that if you learn the rules or the principles like a pro, then you can break, or I'm sorry, yeah, I messed it all up. Start over. Sorry about that. If you learn the rules like a pro, then you can break them like an artist. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So just know that. We're going to talk about there's the elements and the principles of floral design. And I gave you guys a handout, and should be in your notes there. But, you know, the elements are form, space, texture, line, and color. And I've always been taught that if you look at a design and something is off, then there's a problem with one of those elements. Okay? Maybe your form is off. Maybe it's like lopsided, not balanced. Maybe your color's off. You've got, for example, this right here is a good example. Maybe I've got a whole bunch of burgundy down here, but I don't have anything over here. Or a whole lot of yellow over here. I don't have any yellow over there. So, you know, we're talking about color and balance there. Do your colors not jive? You know, I'm a strong believer in the color wheel, and I put a rudimentary one in the group there. I mean, it's the best I could do as far as not, you know, plagiarizing myself or something like that. But anyway, I posted that there. But you can pick these up. I got this at Hobby Lobby, I think for like, I don't know, $4. It was less than $5, I can tell you that. They've got some larger ones too. I was a little bit worried about the print, but it just goes through the color wheels and you know, tells you about all the, you know, you've got monochromatic, analogous, you've got complementary, you've got triad colors and that kind of thing. So it tells you how, you know, what kind of colors you can mix together. But textures off. Do you just have one texture all the way through the design? So like I said, if you don't like or you feel like something's off, just look through each one of those that I've listed there as form, space, texture, line, and color. Okay, and you know, see if you can see a problem with that. And you may not be able to now, but hopefully by the time we get down through the line here by Sunday, you'll be able to tell. Okay. All right, and then there's the principles too. There's accent, scale, harmony, rhythm, unity, and balance. And you have to have all of those things also. And if you think about A shrub, A is for accent, S is for scale, and we'll go through and explain what all those things mean here in a minute. But H, harmony, rhythm, R is for rhythm, unity, and balance. And, you know, accent means that you've got some kind of focal piece or something that draws your eye into a design. For example, in this one again, I'll keep on pulling back to this one, but, you know, you don't look at this and, whenever I look at it, my eye kind of just sinks right down here to the focal point or the meat and potatoes of it. It might be easier to see on this side, but there's kind of a focal point or a grouping here where it just zeroes your eye in and kind of centers the piece. And then as far as scale, same thing. Everything's kind of in the same scale. You know, I don't have a humongous pumpkin sitting here, and then the rest of the elements being, you know, about the same size as they are. I should have brought something in. Oh, I know what I could show you. I've got stuff scattered everywhere for you. But for example, if I came in here and thought I was going to put this flower in this design, the scale's going to be off. Okay? Just think, I always compare it to if you have you've got a small living room. See, a teeny tiny living room like we all start out in, and you come in and you bring a 72-inch TV, you know what that's going to do to the room, right? So the same thing applies to your floral designs. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about harmony. Are the elements all pleasing to the eye? Does your and if you think really about harmony in music, you know, if you got every element's clashing, then you're not going to have harmony. You want harmony that kind of, everything kind of blends and flows together. Okay, and then rhythm. Rhythm to me is about the same as harmony in my mind. It's the same. Rhythm is having a nice visual flow, like a smooth flow, like is your eye moving over the piece smoothly. It's probably easier to show that on a wreath. I always talk about how, whenever you've got a wreath, you want your eye to smoothly go around the perimeter. And say if somebody's came in here and say here I brought all my greenery is going around this way, but what if I brought some greenery and started going this way? My eye would stop right there. So I hope that makes sense to you. Let me see if I've got any questions here real quick. If you have any questions, put them in the group here, and I'll answer them the best I can. Okay, all right, and unity again is the piece all of. Then you look at the design, and does it appear to be just one piece? Okay, now this one might is probably leaning on the edge of not united, because this is a whole different floral design. This one we're going to talk about at the very end, but we've got these two jutting pieces, but it's still all the colors, all the elements work together and are united as one. Okay, same thing with here. Okay, all right, and then balance. Again, visual and physical. I always think of balance. I think of, you've got a boat out in the ocean, and somebody stands over here, but there's nobody over here. What's the ship going to do? It's going to do this. Well, if you put another person over here, comparable size, then it's going to balance out. And you'll hear me talking about, I added something over here like these little orange berries. I added something here, so I need to come over here and add something comparable, which would be the orange or kind of golden spider mum. Okay, same with the yellow up here. As I told you, we've got it up here, and we went over here. So think about those kinds of things. Balance. I mean, and it all goes back to the elements we talked about first. Is there something wrong? And all of those pieces need to go together and flow as one. Okay. All right. Well, I hope I explained that. It's a little bit self-explanatory, but then again, it's not. You know what I mean? But we'll talk about that more as we go on. Now, as far as starting out your design, I always tell people, take one item and build your design out from there. That's the simplest way I know to do it. I feel like if you get more than one item that's going to be your focal piece or your inspiration, then you're going to end up scattered. And as far as a floral design, you need to think about your theme. Is it going to be rustic, elegant? Is it going to be large? Is it going to be small? I mean, is it for a little girl's room or is it for a man's room? So kind of think about your theme when you're getting started, and where are you going to place it? Is it going to be in a tiny bathroom, or is it going to be in a grand dining hall? So those are things that's going to be going into your consideration when you're designing your elements and or designing your piece and choosing your elements. What room is it going to go in? Again, is it going to be a little girl's room, or is it going to be a fancy living room? Or is it going to be Christmas? Is it going to be Thanksgiving, that kind of thing. Placement. You need to think about this when we're talking, I mean, not just about, where it's going to go, but where is it going to sit? Is it going to be on a dining room table? If it's going to be, then you need to make it a lower arrangement so people can look over it and converse. Now, that being said, I have seen, in fact, at my daughter's wedding that we just had, the florist had these really tall vases and then a centerpiece up, or a floral arrangement up here. We could still converse, so that would be appropriate. But you just don't want something like, say it's this tall and somebody's trying to look over, trying to talk to the person across the table. What kind of shape are you going to want it? And we'll talk more about floral shapes later, but is it going to be like a round mounded arrangement? Is it going to be a triangle arrangement? Is it going to be a vertical arrangement? Is it going to be a horizontal arrangement? And there's lots of different shapes of design, so don't think that what I've given you is all inclusive, okay? But I think they're the most common ones that I chose, because you'll run across those probably the most often. And then most importantly, probably, you need to think about your budget. Just like I was talking about in the first part of this, that, I went to Hobby Lobby, I went to Hobby Lobby and then another local craft store we have, and, I really didn't have a budget for each piece that I was going to make here, but I don't want to waste money either, or be, real extravagant, because I want everybody to be able to kind of play around with the materials we're going to be using. And so anyway, I had in my mind what I wanted to make. I wanted to make a round arrangement for the first one, because it's probably the most common. And I find these pretty flowers where they're like $7 a stem. Well, by the time you get that arrangement made, you're going to have a lot of money into that. And that's okay if your customer will pay that, but or your wallet will afford that, but I didn't think that would be the wise choice. Okay? All right. Now, I hope that kind of gives you a real fast, brief overview of some of the thinking that goes behind developing your design. But again, there's lots more to it. That's just a brief overview, okay? All right, now, tools. Let me clear off some space here. I've got all my tools down here. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. Okay. All right, well, first off, we'll talk about containers. And I did see some comments that, because I asked you guys for, struggles, what your biggest struggles were. And that's for me. I need to know what kind of things you need to cover here. I don't want you to go away and still having your biggest struggle not answered. But a lot of people were saying that they didn't know what kind of container to use, and a lot of that is subjective. And again, you want to start out with thinking about your elements, your floral elements, is the scale, all that kind of thing. But number one is your taste. I mean, do you like rustic? Do you like more elegant? Is the piece going to be someplace where somebody can knock into it and break it? Are you going to ship it? I will not ship anything breakable. My containers that I ship are wooden or plastic, and that's not negotiable. There's too many things that could go wrong, and I know what some of my packages look like whenever they get here, and I don't want to take a chance. But then you've got in mind what you want to make your florals look like. Then you got to think about the color. I like to use a lot of white, either something. Now this probably isn't the best container for this. This I made for our back porch, and so you know, there's a lot of dust and that kind of thing out there. So and plus it gets wet. It's under an overhang, but it does get moisture there. But anyway, to me, you know, this is a tropical. I've got tropical covers on all my furniture out there, but if I was making this for a customer or to sell, I would have put it in a different container. I would have put it in something probably more colorful. Maybe even if I could have found something like this bright orange container or a yellow, something like that. But like I said, I was just for my own back porch, and I wasn't going to worry about it that much. But you can see that I also considered the scale or the size of it. You can see that this container is kind of small, on the small side, and so I wouldn't want this great big huge arrangement in a container like this. It's petite because I wanted a petite arrangement to go in the middle of our table there. Okay. We talked about being fragile. Okay, another thing too, and if you're okay with shipping glass or fragile items, that's okay. That's for you, and people need that because I'm not going to. But you might be running across some clear glass containers, and you need to consider what's the clear part, what's going to look or show in the clear part. Sometimes we actually take, these are all folded up, but you can take I think these are banana leaves, and I've just doubled these back just to do something different with them. But you can take banana leaves and coat the inside of it or cover the inside of it. Just wrap it around your floral foam, and then people, if it's a clear glass, people can see that instead of seeing the floral foam. Because if we're talking about artificial flowers, you're going to have something to anchor those florals in. But, okay. All right. Let's see. Everybody doing okay? Let me see. I checked on questions here a minute. I see some people on YouTube. Good deal. Now I've lost all my comments. Oh well, we'll keep on going, guys. I'll look back after and see if I have any questions, okay? All right, let's see. Okay, I think that's enough on containers. If you have any questions about containers, let me know. But, you know, you can use anything for a container. I'm serious. I mean, you can buy normal floral containers like what you find at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, wherever. But you can also use a candlestick. You can use a pumpkin or some fruit. I've used even just like a charger that you would serve a fancy dinner on, like the charger that goes under the dining or the dinner plate. What else have I used for that? Well, this. I found these log, I wanted something real rustic, and I found these log, it's just basically like a hollowed out piece of, I don't know if it's real or if it's plastic, but it's hollowed out. And now the problem with it was, though, that with just the log by itself, it would roll. So I just glued it onto this wooden plank here to keep it stable. But I mean, you can pretty much use anything for a container. Okay. Floral foam. We need to talk about floral foam. There's different kinds of floral foam, and it's very important when you're talking about dealing with artificial flowers that you use the right one. Okay. This is what I prefer. Okay. It's a, let me get a pick here. And this is actually crunchy, and it comes in a great big sheet. I buy it at Hobby Lobby, and you can find it at Joann's. I'm sure Michael's has it too. I think even Walmart has it. But It's hard, okay? And when you put something in it, you're going to hear it crunch, okay? Can you hear that? As opposed to, there's another kind of dry foam that you'll see at Hobby Lobby that kind of looks like this. This isn't it, but it's like this. I think it's probably a little bit darker though. It's probably more of a, in between a gray and a brown, but it's soft. And it says on the package, you can use it for artificial flowers. The thing is though, and I mean, it's okay if it's for you and you're not going to be selling it or shipping it or giving it away, but that kind of floral foam, the dry floral foam, it'll disintegrate, whereas this stays forever, okay? And plus, this is a lot more forgiving. I can take my pick in and out of it multiple times, and I can still use this piece. On the other dry floral foam, it's going to keep disintegrating, and then it's just not going to have anything holding your floral stem. So use this one. This also, I just wanted to show you this. This one you'll see is wet foam, and it is for live flowers. You soak this down in water. It's soft also. You can push a floral stem in here, a real floral stem, and it holds a lot of water. But you don't want to put artificial flowers in that, okay? And then we'll talk about moss too. I like to use floral moss or Spanish moss to cover my foam. And this is the one I like to get. You can get it anywhere. In fact, I've got other bags too. It comes in different colors. But I use this one in the springtime. There's more of a brown one. I don't think I got this at Hobby Lobby or Walmart, but there's this one I used in the fall. And sometimes I mix the two. There's also some greens that are kind of in between here. But anyway, I think they have a smaller bag of this too if you don't want to buy it in bulk like this. But that's what I use. You'll also hear people talk about sheet moss. I used that when I first started out. I don't like it. I mean, it does well if, say you've got a bunny sitting on a centerpiece and you want to put out a flat area that just looks like he's standing on the moss. It's okay for that. But the thing is, it's messy, even more messy than the Spanish moss. And over time, it kind of disintegrates. So there's that. I mean, like I said, I used it for a long time. Plus the color changes. After it's been there for a while, it starts out green and then it'll turn a little bit more brown like what the one I showed you there. Okay? I don't know what happened to my comments. I'm not getting anything. Oh, there they are. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Anybody on YouTube have any questions? Okay. All right, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to keep on going. But as I said, be sure and let me know if you have any. Okay, so let's see. Talked about that. Okay, glue. You'll hear me talk about a couple of different types of glue. My preference for glue is Gorilla Glue. I've not had any problems with this. These are the full-size sticks, the full size. Most of my customers are down south, and you have to worry about, somebody puts a wreath or a design out, say on the front porch, and the sun's hitting it all day long. There's a possibility the glue can get hot enough that it softens and then your piece can fail. So far, knock on wood, I've not had any problems with this. Now what I do, especially probably more for arrangements and that, I prefer using a glue pot. And all it is a small little skillet here. And actually, I've got a link for these kinds of things that I'm telling you about. I've got a link. Let's see, there's a blog post that talks about my favorite tools, and I should post that in the group. Actually, I might have already done that, but then too, I've got a shop. If you go to shopliketeri.com, I've got some links for some of that kind of thing. But anyway, I use mostly the glue pot. It's a little bit more messy, I think, than the glue gun is. This is the glue gun I like to have. It's cordless, but with the glue gun, I was blistering myself all the time. I mean, this is unforgiving. You get some on your skin and you're going to burn. Whereas the glue pot, while it stings when I get it there, but it doesn't blister. It doesn't get hot enough, unless you turn it up, of course. But I like to have the glue about a honey consistency. You don't want it too thick, because then you're not going to be able to use it very well. You don't want it too thin, because you're not going to be able to get it off and put it where you want it. But I just cut up these sticks, and then I put it in my glue pot. Okay? Now, sometimes you might hear me talk about the liquid Gorilla Glue. This is another one that I use. And I'll use it, usually if I use this, I'm using both of them together. This will dry a lot quicker than this one will. This one's much stronger, and it will stick to metal. Like if you're trying to put floral foam down in metal, it'll stick initially, but it won't stay over long term. So you're going to want to use this on the bottom of it, and then cover it with this so you can get that short-term drying and go on with your project. All right, and so cutters, my favorite wire cutters. That's what I use. I just got mine on Amazon. They have them at Lowe's too, but the reason I like these too, they don't have the spring release. That's the only thing I do wish they had. Where some of them will have a spring release where they'll open back up for you, but I just like the way it fits in my hands. And another thing too, if you look, it has an angled tip there. These are actually in the electrical section at Lowe's, or like I said, you can get them on Amazon. But I like that they're angled, because I can get there real close when I need to and trim things down, like up against the side of a stem. I can get real flush with that. I can just trim that off just like, just like that. So, and but the thing about it is, these will not cut the heavier stems. I've got 3 different things I use. I've got these. These actually I stole out of my husband's toolbox, so I don't know where he got them, but I got a little bigger wire cutters. Okay, he's an electrician, so these are electrical, but yeah, these are a little bit stronger. And then for the stems, the big stems, I've just got these bolt cutters. I think they're 18 inches. Yeah, 18 inches. Got these at Lowe's. You can also get them online at Amazon. But you can also get what's called a stem cutter, but they're pretty pricey. I think I probably paid under, I can't remember if it's $30 or $20. So this is a lot cheaper. I have seen some people who have actually bolted these to their table and just had them there and just, cut like this. I don't have a sturdy enough table to do that. Okay, and then we'll talk about scissors. Really for florals, about any scissors will work. I do like to have some that I can get pretty close with. These are, actually, I think I got these at Dollar Tree. Picked these up for I was doing a workshop, in-person workshop, but they're really sharp. They're titanium, and I can, what I use them on florals is, if it's not for ribbon, I'll use it on the edges of the flowers. Sometimes on silk flowers, you'll get some fray on the edge, and I just trim that off. I don't like to leave that. If I see it, I go ahead and take care of it right away. But you don't want to. I'm talking like most of us are selling. I know not everybody is, but at the same time, if you had something on your shelf and all the stems or all the petals were fraying, you know, that's not going to look so good. So I go through there and just trim those real close. And then we'll talk about wire. There's different kinds of floral wire. If I can find it here. There it is. Oh, you know, one thing I did forget to put on there, I just saw it. I forgot to put on needle nose pliers. I went for a long time, I didn't have any wire cutters. I just used these because, well, the ones I had broke, but down here in the center, they've got a place where you can cut wire. But I like to use these even now is because you're packing a lot of materials in your centerpiece or your arrangement, and sometimes I can't fit my hand down in there, but I haven't got the item pushed in far enough. I take it and place it in my needle nose pliers, and then I'm able to push it down. Or say I've got a steel pick on it and I'm getting a lot of resistance. You know, sometimes you can actually slip on when you're holding that steel pick and it'll slice you. They're very sharp. So, you know, use your needle nose pliers. And like I said, I forgot to put those on the list. All right, now we're going to talk about wire. And wires come in all different kinds of sizes. I like to buy mine like this because it's all contained here. It's nice and neat. I got this at Hobby Lobby, but you can pull it out. It has this little cutter here on the end where you can just cut off however long of a piece of wire that you want. And but they also have it what they call paddle wire. This is what's called paddle wire. Comes like that. Either one's fine. Like I said, I just like the convenience of the tidiness of this one. Now on floral wire, it'll come different gauges. On floral wire, the bigger the number, the skinnier the wire, or the thinner the wire. For example, this is, I think 22 gauge. It's pretty sturdy. Okay, you can see how thick that is. This is 26 gauge. And see how thin that is. It looks just like a hair. Compare the two here. See the difference? And like I said, the larger the number, the thinner the wire. And another kind of wire I use when I'm talking about floral design is just a straight wire. I think these are 18 or 16 gauge. Sometimes you'll have some stems that are flimsy. Maybe the floral head is too heavy for the wire, or maybe it's not wired at all. You can take this and you can actually insert it right up here underneath into the head of the flower. And you can take this wire, wrap it around, and then you've got you a wired stem. Okay, and we may have to do that while we're making arrangements. I don't know yet, but we may come across that. But that's a good tip to know. Because like I said, a lot of, especially when you're looking at less expensive pieces, or florals especially, they may not be wired all the way to the tip, and sometimes you need that. All right, floral tape. You've got different kinds of floral tape, or different colors, I should say. Floral tape, usually you're using it along with a wooden floral pick. This is a wooden floral pick, and they come in different lengths. This is a 6-inch. I think I've seen them down as small as that, but it has this wire on the end most times. You can buy them without the wire, but the floral tape, you're usually using it with this. But you're going to use a floral pick if your stem is too short, or if it's too flimsy. It won't go where you're wanting it to because it keeps buckling over, or it's not thick enough. Say you've got a grapevine and you're wanting to make contact with the grapevine, and you're your stem's too thin, you'll need that. And then too, if you need some way to attach something. I've actually, like pine cones, I use a lot of pine cones in the wintertime and the fall, and you can actually either put an eye hook in the pine cone and then wrap this around, connect it. I just broke that wire, but you can use that to attach it, or you can take a drill bit or an awl and make a hole in the pine cone and just stick your pickup in there. Now, when you're taping it, like I said, I just broke that wire off of here, but you're going to wrap your stem. Actually, let me go ahead and show you one. Oh, here's one. You're going to actually wrap this wire. Got the wire down here. You're going to wrap this wire around the stem tightly. I should have picked a smaller stem here. Wrapping it tightly. And see how instantly I've got a thicker wire, or a thicker stem, and I've got a longer stem. I could have brought this down here too. And then we're going to take our floral tape, which the floral tape does not get sticky until you pull on it, and then it'll stick to itself. And you just wrap that around. Okay, I usually go a couple of times up and down. Now sometimes, like if I were really doing this for real, this stem is so heavy, or this part of the flower is so heavy, I would probably put a little dab of glue on there too, just for extra precaution. But like I said, if you need it lengthened or beefed up, that's the two most common uses. And tape, the floral tape comes in a couple of different colors. It comes brown, it comes in the green. I've also seen like a cream or a white color. I don't know if it comes in any others, but okay. And it will dry out too. If it gets too old, it'll dry out, and you'll hear me say, I'm sure, while we're creating this week or this weekend, sometimes it just disintegrates. When you pull the stem or spray apart, it'll just disintegrate, and that just means it's old and dried out. And then we've also got rustic wire and binding wire, which I didn't bring binding wire. Binding wire looks a little bit thinner than that. It's just like a paper or jute colored wire. This one's real heavy gauge. The binding wire is not quite as heavy, but you can use something like this. Say you've got a vine, a woody vine or something, you're wanting to put some florals on it. You can wrap it around with something like this, and then this kind of blends in with the wood. Okay? All right, and floral pins. You'll need floral pins. I buy mine in bulk in these great big bags from Hobby Lobby. You can get them on Amazon too. They do have smaller bags than this too. But it just looks like it's like a U pin almost. Looks like a paper clip that you cut in half. It has points on the ends here, and we use that just to secure something down into the floral foam. You can attach your ribbon with this. You can attach, I've got a stem that I can't get the right angle to get it down in the foam. I can put this across that and then put some glue over the top of it, and that'll secure it into the foam. I think that's about the only time I use those, but okay. I think that's all I've got to tell you about tools. Does anybody have any questions? Shirley's wanting to know, how do you attach your foam securely? And we'll talk about that when we do the arrangements. I'll have to show you on that. Okay, any questions on YouTube? I don't see any questions. All right. Are you guys doing okay? Everybody can hear, everybody can see. Is everybody's brains swimming? I know we've covered a lot. I promise it will get more entertaining though. All right, I don't see any questions. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about briefly was just flowers. I mean, that's part of the supplies you're going to be using. And just like I told you to start with, you're going to want to pick one inspiration piece. And for me, most times, that's my flowers. And they come all shapes, sizes, colors, textures. And I just pulled out some just so we can talk about them a little bit. To me, the most economical way to buy florals is in a bush like this. This is actually I got this from a wholesaler, but you can get bushes anywhere that sells artificial flowers. And most times you're going to get more bang for your buck if you buy a bush rather than buy each one of these stems individually. Okay. They also have mixed bushes, which I don't have one. This actually was a mixed bush, with the exception of the greenery. This was a mixed bush, and I just took out each individual element and placed it in my foam. You know, I arranged it how I wanted it, but still, number one, it takes out a lot of the thinking. Especially if you're uncomfortable choosing flowers, choosing colors, choosing greenery. A lot of times the mixed bushes will come with greenery also. That's a good place to start, because you know if it comes in a bush like that it goes together, right? And like I said, I use it a lot of times just for convenience. And again, buying in a bush is a lot of times cheaper than if I was to go out and buy each individual item that I placed in that arrangement. Okay, I'd have to buy a whole bush of the banana leaves or stems. I think they comes either stems or sprays. I haven't seen a bush of those. And I'd have to buy a bush of the tulips, the lilies, and on and on. So when you get all said and done, then that adds up to a lot more than just buying the single bush. Okay. You'll also hear us talk about sprays. This is an example of a spray, as is this. And spray, to me, I've seen it, there's two different categories of sprays. Sprays that come with flowers and greenery. And really, all you've got to do with something like this, you just got to doctor it up and put it in your design. Add some more greenery, maybe a big focal flower if you wanted to. And it saves down on a lot of the legwork. Everything's already put together. Again, you know it matches. This one I like because it has different kinds of greenery in it. But then you'll also have, this is also called a spray. Okay, now let me back up though. Some people will call this a swag also. I call it a spray. This is also called a spray. Like I said, it has multiple flower heads on it. And again, stepping down, this is probably a little bit more expensive than a bush, but less expensive than a single spray, or a single stem, I mean. I really didn't, well, this is the only thing I had that was a single stem. And that's what I'm talking about, which is self-explanatory. But this, well, I bought it on sale. I bought it on sale for $3. It was priced $6 to start with, just for one head. And at that store, that's a bargain. I think we paid about $7 probably, but look at how many florals I have. And really, the way these are staggered and stair-stepped, you could almost just bend these around and put them in your arrangement, just as is. Maybe add another piece with it, or however you want to design it. But you could, they've all got kind of a stair-step effect going on. Get your flowers all situated. I love this spray because all but, I think this one, and maybe this one. Oh, this one's wired. I guess it's just this one. This one's the only one that's not wired. But then if I wanted it to bend in other ways, all I'd have to do would be get some of that wire and put some wire around it and bend it however I want. Okay, all right. Another example of a spray. All right, and flowers also, I want to tell you, talk about something else too though. Flowers also come in different shapes and sizes, and in most of my designs I want different sizes and shapes in it, different textures. You'll hear me talk about that. You know, we've got round-headed flowers like these, something like this, more round. Some people will call this a globe. We've got flat, something like that. Daisies would be another example. And then you've got what we call a rosette. I call that a rosette. It's probably not. I guess I didn't pull any rosettes. But a rosette is just what you'd think it'd be. It's a small rose, right? Or a rose shape. They kind of look like this, but that's actually a bud. Okay, but think about that as you're bringing your design together, as you want varying sizes and shapes. I wouldn't put something like this and then another similar sized round flower right next to it. I could maybe, if I had an arrangement like that autumn one that I showed you, where they're, you know, pretty far apart, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put it. That actually looks like a rosette. It's not, but it looks like one. Okay, and then colors too. We talked about the color wheel briefly, but let me talk to you about a little bit more. You'll hear me talk about mostly harmonious and complementary colors. I tend to use both of those. You can also have what we call triad, and triad is when you have three different colors they're actually opposite, or well, not opposite, they're evenly spaced on the color wheel, like yellow, blue, and red would be one. I can't see what I'm doing here. Yellow, blue, and red. Okay, green, orange, and purple would be another one. Okay, but they're evenly spaced. I don't like to do that very often. If I do use three colors, a lot of times it's a white or a cream color. Most times cream. To me, it gets pretty busy if you start putting 3 and 4 different colors in a wreath or a floral arrangement. I tend to stay either monochromatic, which monochromatic is, trying to get this turned where you can see, monochromatic is all the differing shades of the same color. Okay, so it might be all greens, all blues, all purples, all reds, but they're all in the same, just differing tones or hues of that color. I also like to use analogous. Analogous is colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Now, whenever you're talking about analogous, you can use up to 3 or 4, and it's not going to get too awfully busy. Whereas if you use 3 or 4 of the ones that are the opposite, or the triad, or I don't know if they have another name for using 4 colors, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But harmonious colors or analogous colors are more calming to the eye, as opposed to complementary colors, which complementary, they're opposite on the color wheel, like purple and yellow, blue and orange, green and red. They're opposite. They're going to be more vibrant color combinations. On those, I've always been taught to only use 2, because if you throw in that third, then you're going to have your triad, and then you're going to have something pretty busy. So that's my preference. What you like, or what, you know, I'm not trying to influence anybody. I'm just telling you my preference on that. Okay, but you'll see me usually, like I said, using monochromatic, analogous, or complementary. That's what I use. Okay? Anybody have questions on that? Oh, Joan says you're writing quickly. Taking lots of notes? Okay, okay. I hope I'm not boring you. Oh yeah, I love that pink and cream spray, and if you know me, you know if I get something I like, I hold on to it and I don't use it. And I've had this for probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks and I still haven't used one. I think we're going to in this workshop though, because I want to. I love it. I have another spray you'll love too. Okay. All right, I think that's it on color. Does anybody have any questions on color? Any questions on YouTube? Okay. I'm so excited the YouTube's working. I said that was a backdoor way to do it. All right, so you guys ready to talk about greenery? What did I do with it? Here we go. All right, this is probably one of the most common questions I get asked, aside from the containers, is about combining greenery. And people get pretty uptight about it. You know, I say have fun with it. Don't fret over it, okay? Usually when I'm choosing greenery, I do, in a perfect world, I like to have 3 different kinds of greenery, okay? That's one reason I like using the sprays, because a lot of times they have all that already built in there, and I just kind of doctor it up with maybe additional greenery. But anyway, I usually, you know, you have differing tones of greenery. You'll have, yes, of course it's green, but you'll have like a grayish green, and oh, and I forgot to get that. I was going to get that. I'll grab it because I want you to see this. There's a gray green, there's like a more of a bluish green, and then there's green, there's lime green. But I just wanted to show you the difference between, and like I said, I forgot that. Let me grab that gray green real quick. Okay, this is what I call a gray green. To me, when I look at it, I just think of gray. It really doesn't look green to me much at all, and that's opposed to a blue green. Can you see the difference? I mean, even though I say this isn't green, trust me, it is green, but can you see the difference? This is green, but it has like a bluish undertone to it, as opposed to a green. Can you guys see the difference? All right, and then we've got more of a lime green. See the difference there? I hope so. And I hope the camera's showing you it well enough. But I like to keep, when I'm matching my greeneries, I like to keep all in the same family or the same tone. For example, I wouldn't put, okay, this looks more like a true green to me, or a green. I wouldn't put this with this blue green. Okay, see the contrast? And it just doesn't look harmonious to me. It looks like they kind of fight against each other. I wouldn't put it with a lime green either. Okay, I wouldn't do that. Now, I would put it with another blue-green, this, if you see it, by the way, this is a Hobby Lobby spray. Great buy. They've raised their price. It's $18.99, but you can get it every other week for half price. But this was actually the spray that I was talking about. The greenery spray has a lot of eucalyptus, different types. And just like I was talking about the flowers, greenery comes as stems, sprays, and bushes also, just like the flowers do. This is a spray, or some people call it a swag, but I like that, just that all the different kinds of textures in it. And like I said, you can get it for, what did I say, 19, so $9.50 every other week. But anyway, it goes really well with this because they're all in the same tone. Whereas if I put something like that, they're not in the same tone, not in the same family. Okay? All right, and when you're looking at your greenery also, you want to think about textures. Just like I said, this right here, this is a winner in my opinion, because you have so many different textures. You've got the fern, which is long and pointy. You've got the long eucalyptus, long and pointy. You've got the round silver dollar eucalyptus. You've got the, I don't know if I call that just eucalyptus. And then you've also got some nuts and some berries. I've seen berries classed under both greenery and floral. These are the little berries, if you can see those, because you can use berries as a filler, actually a filler flower. I'd just say filler, period. But anyway, I like to match or mix textures, and trying to find these. So I've got this round. Now pretend like these are all the same tones. I've got this more of a round leaf. I would like to pair this with a more pointy leaf, like the long leaf, or the fern. Okay, I would not want to pair it only with another small round leaf. I kind of almost wouldn't want to pair it with the silver dollar either. Okay, because you've got too much round going on. Now something like this would be good. We've got both the same tones. They're both blue greens. I've got a kind of a spiky, short spiky, and a smaller round. Okay. All right, and then also, well, and even something like this, if you could pretend like this was in the blue-gray or blue-green color, you could put something like these together. You've got a different texture here, you've got a different texture here, you've got a different texture here, and there's your three greeneries. As I said, you would want that to be the blue-green, though, of course, or these two be in the lime green. Okay, so that's how I mix or match my greenery. You also want to look at your leaves. You like this ficus leaf is all one color, more or less. I mean, you've got the little bit of a lime green down the center of it where the vein is, but then you can also find variegated leaves, and a lot of your ivies come that way too, a lot of your grasses. But you need to look at that. For example, if I was using, say, two different color florals, I wouldn't want to put this in there because it's going to be too busy. But say I was putting it in something that had a lot of cream in it, I could use that, and that would pull that design together. So look at the colors on your leaves. Sometimes your leaves will even be colored with a little red. This one just has a little bit. I don't know if you can see that or not. Has just a little bit of red on the tip of it. And say you didn't have the florals up here, but that would be a really nice greenery to pair with something like that. Okay. Let me see if I have any other colored greens. I do not. But then here would be another nice pairing. We've got the green here, and we've got the green there. You could probably even pair it with this. This is a little darker shade of green, but it is green. So there you've got different shapes and sizes of your greenery. Any questions? Oh, and I also wanted to talk about, I'm looking at my notes. I've got my notes written down here so I don't forget anything. But you also want to think about plastic versus silk. Now, if I have plastic greenery, you will almost always see me pair it with some silk greenery. Like, and plastic greenery, I mean, number one, it lasts a lot longer. It's much nicer than it used to be. Now, you will run across some that's not so great. Okay, like, let's see, this in itself, if this fern here was all by itself, I don't know if you can see the plasticness of it, or even this berry. It's plastic, and it's a little bit of a shiny plastic. If it were not in here with the rest of this really nice silk greenery, it would really look cheap. So if I'm going to use anything that has any plastic, I'm going to pair it with a really nice silk. Okay. Oh, mess up the harmony, Christine. Yeah. I say just go for it, though. Don't fret about it. And it's all a process. I mean, I'm still learning. I mean, we all learn. Every time we make something, we're learning, right? And I just keep on. I'm watching videos all the time. When I'm sitting on the couch, my husband's watch TV. I'm watching other people design. So, oh, and one more thing I want to tell you too. You'll hear me talk about pushers and sliders versus fixed. Let's see if I have any. Here we go. All right. A pusher to me, and this is one thing I look at whenever I am buying greenery or actually florals too, any of my supplies, is how can I deconstruct that and make it go further? Because I'm not likely just going to take this. I mean, it's very rare that I take this and just stick it down in the foam and call it done. I'm usually taking this part, you know, taking it piece by piece and breaking it up so I can put it into my design. And this is what I call a pusher or a slider, where you can actually move these up. I can make this into a short, compact bunch of greenery like that, or I can make it long where the greenery covers more length. Okay, something like that. And I can also take this and I can push this up and I can trim it right there, and then I've got two pieces of greenery rather than the one. So I can make it go twice as far as what it already is. As opposed to a fixed piece, this eucalyptus bush is a fixed piece. None of these are movable. Now, that's not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but I can still clip it. I can still, you know, I can still clip it right here and make it into two pieces. But I can't push it and make it thicker unless I take those two pieces and bunch them together. I'd take it, you know, make it more thick like this, rather than like with the pusher slider. Okay? Let me see if I got any questions here. Everybody on YouTube still all right? Let me see what else we got to talk about. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention on flowers is you'll hear me talk about a focal flower and a filler flower. A focal flower is the main event usually, and you know, something usually of a larger size, and it, like I say, it's the main attraction of your piece. Now, usually we don't just put those in there by themselves. We put this with a little bit of greenery, but then a lot of times you want to put a little accent with it, and something like this could be a filler flower. It's not the star of attention, but it's an important piece. It does basically what it says. It fills in the gaps in between. You could actually nestle that right up in there. But they're usually smaller. You can call some berries, as I said just a little bit ago, you can call a berry a filler. I think we're going to be using these in something. I can't remember what, but aren't those cool? Very different. But yeah, there you've got your focal flowers and filler flowers. All right, let me see if I've missed anything else. I don't see anything, except just don't underestimate the color wheel. I've always got mine sitting here. I don't, nowadays I know pretty much what colors goes together for my taste, but early on I really use this all the time, especially when I tried to start branching out from using sprays. That was scary territory. Any other questions? All right, are we ready to start talking about shapes? We've already pretty much, touched on the round already, and these are the two we're going to be doing later today. I can't wait. But as I said, the round is probably the most common. When you think of ordering flowers from a florist, or you're going to send flowers to somebody, or you got some flowers sitting on your coffee table, usually this is the most common. Now, some people will say it's the easiest. I tend to disagree with that. I think, my opinion, what we call vegetative is the easiest, and we'll talk about that later. But most people will tell you this is the easiest. But it's actually what it says. It's a round arrangement. Some people will call it circular arrangement, or mounded, or globe arrangement. Those are all differing terms that you might hear. But it's a little bit, you can either make it formal, you can make it more woodsy, you can make it airy, you can make it compact. I haven't decided what we're going to do with the one tomorrow yet. I was leaning toward a compact, but I'm not sure I like it that way. So or not tomorrow, today, but we'll see what we do with it. But you can see that usually what I do the first thing, I'm going to place my greenery in this pattern. I'm going to go around the outside, and depending on how much greenery I have or how many florals I have, I'm going to place a sprig of greenery in each one of those places. I'm going to start out on the outside, down low, and then once I get that done, then I'm going to come up a little higher. You've got what we call, this is one way I learned it, I've got lower deck, middle deck, and the penthouse. That's what I was taught. I've had lower deck, middle deck, penthouse. But I start out on the outside, place everything out here evenly, and then I come on the inside a little bit and up a little bit, and I'll show you this when we get to arranging. And in between each of those pieces, I'm going to place more greenery of the same type. Once I get that done, I'm going to come in the middle and put it right in the center. Now that center one's going to pretty much just establish my height. And if you want to put that one first, you can. I've just always done it the other way. Not always, but a lot of times. Just depends on what I'm making. But we will follow the same pattern with our focal flower. Okay, and then with our fillers, we're just going to fill in between. But as I said, I want you to learn the basic patterns, and then you can do what you want with them later when you get comfortable with this. And you watch me decorate or make an arrangement now when I'm down here in the workshop or doing a live video. A lot of times you won't be able to tell that I'm straying from these patterns. I use a lot of the triangle, I guess. Well, I guess I do this too, but it doesn't look like this anymore. But it will tomorrow, or will today. And yeah, like I said, it's more classic. All right, triangular is just what it says. When I look at this type of arrangement, I think of like a memorial piece that you might see at a funeral home or on a tombstone, something like that. Although the one we do tomorrow or today is not going to be in any way, shape, or form memorial type. But you can see the placement, and we're going to follow every place we put. Now this one, most times I'm going to start with my flowers first. And I'm going to make a tall one, and I'm just going to basically stair step. Again, it depends on how many flowers you have. Just like with this one, if you don't have 12 flower heads, then just adapt it. You would put, usually what I do, say I've got 9 flowers. I'm going to divide that in half. So that's going to be 5 and a 4, right? I'm going to put the 4 around the outer edge here. And then I'm going to put, no, I'm telling you wrong. I'm going to put, how many did I say? I had 9? Yes. I'm going to put 5, then 3, then 1. So I'm splitting it basically in half. One, if you got an odd number, which we always try to have odd numbers, that's just usually more pleasing to the eye. But I'm going to split it in half. One of those halves is going to be more. All right? And then I'm going to stair step them like what I just said. Okay? Like this one. This one, yeah, this one has 12. So we're going to divide that in half. That shouldn't be like that. No, it's 13. I don't know why it says 12 there. Oh, yes, I do. Duh. It's the clock. That's why I was like, wait a minute. We don't use 12. But you'd put 6, and then you'd put 6, and then you put 1. So you always have an odd number up here. Split it in half. The larger half goes toward the top, the bottom on the bottom, the lowest on the bottom. Have I got you thoroughly confused now? Okay. But anyway, the triangle is just like what it says. You can just visually see a triangle. And the triangle goes this way, and it also, when you're looking at it sideways, it's going to come this way and then come back. So it'll look like side to side, looking at it front on, and then looking at it sideways is going to come out like this. Okay, and this shows you the floral placement. Again, I usually on this type I do my flowers first, and then I can fill in. I basically follow the same pattern with my greens. Okay. All right, and then we also talk about the vertical. We're going to do the next 3, we're going to do those tomorrow, and it's the vertical, which is just exactly what you think of. It's tall and thin. It's usually, to me, I think of it as a more formal arrangement. Horizontal, long and low, that's more like what you're going to put on a table centerpiece, like this. This is horizontal, okay? And then S shape, that's also called a Hogarth curve, and again, it's just like what you think. It's just like an S. Usually when I think of those, I think of one that is on a candlestick, although it doesn't have to be. It can be on the top of a, say, a vase with some floral foam up here, and then, you know, S curve down. Kind of think of the skier on the ski slope, kind of a slalom. Doesn't have to be a complete S. It's just kind of a curve. Now, you can also do it in a horizontal design. You could have something like that, like this, and you can do the S that way. Only make it flat. And then crescent, just what it says. I usually think again of more formal, and crescent can either go this way or it can go this way. And usually you've got it on a pedestal, and you know, a big bunch of flowers here. Not always, but most time when I've seen them, a big bunch of flowers, and then the greens either come down or go up. And then vegetative. That's my favorite. That's the one I was showing you earlier. And to me, I think this is the easiest way for a beginner to learn. Because I always think of, this is the one I always think of out in nature. And in the strictest form of the word, say with the florist, and if you were sitting for the floral exam, they want it to all be in the same season and no flowers that are not a natural color. For example, I know for a centerpiece I made for my daughter's shower, I had blue ranunculus. They don't come that way in nature. So technically I could not have used those in a vegetative design, but they give us a little grace. Being wreath makers, I use whatever I want to. I don't know if there's anything unnatural in this or not. I don't think there is. But anyway, if you think about what it looks like, I always think about when I was a kid walking out through the woods, and you know, you'd see a clump of flowers, and there might be some ivy growing in between. Like here, you can see how these are intermingled, but they're clumped, or what it's called is grouping. Okay, you'll hear me talk about that too later on. But grouping, you know, just like it was growing in nature, all of them coming out at one point. This is not allowed in the strictest form of this word with, with florists, with vegetative designs, because this dahlia, or not dahlia, spider mum, normally comes on a long stalk or long stem, and I cut that down short. That is not allowed on a strict vegetative design. Neither is this seed spray. That's not allowed either. Because it's short and it comes on a long stem naturally. But, they're just grouped together. You'll see terracing, where this actually was one big bush that I cut and kind of stair-stepped it down, just like what it sounds like, terracing. And it just allows you to make a more dense presentation of a bush. And again, like what it would look like in nature. Okay. Anybody have any questions? I think that's all. Let me see if I missed anything. Any questions? Any questions on YouTube? You guys are quiet over there. And we'll have the Q&A in the morning too. Nobody has any questions? All that stuff I told you about? I don't see any. Well, that's all I have for this section. I know I threw a lot of just dry information at you, but as I said earlier today, I feel like it's necessary, so then you can build on that knowledge and start to, think on your own as far as making your own designs. will there be a supply list for tomorrow? There will be for the first one for sure. The second two, I don't know yet. And Connie's wanting to know, with complementary colors, do you just use two colors that complement each other? Yes. Yes. Be directly opposite of the of each other. That's my preference. Now, some people might want to add maybe a little cream or something like that. I usually stick with two when I'm doing it that way. Now, with the analogous or the monochromatic, you can use either 3 or 4 tones or 3 or 4 colors, and it won't be as busy. Any other questions? About shades of those two? Yes, you could do that. Yes, certainly. I wouldn't get too far away, though. I wouldn't get, I mean, if you start getting down here toward the, toward the middle on your yellow, it almost starts to look like another color. So, and another thing to think about too, a lot of times I count my greenery as a color. So keep that in mind, especially if you've got something that's variegated like this, that's going to count as another color. Okay? Oh, you're welcome, Connie. Now, as I said earlier today, I know a lot of people are probably busy this morning, but we'll be having our 2 more sessions. We'll be making a round arrangement next. And as I said, I haven't decided, is it going to be compact or is it going to be more airy? I don't know yet. The flowers will talk to me and I'll decide. And like I said, you don't have to like what I make. I'm just going to show you a recipe here. But anyway, we'll be doing 2 more lives, and YouTubers, I'll send you another link for the next one. As I said, I know there's a limit on how much you can go live on YouTube. I hope we don't go past that. If we do, then the video will be available later. But the very last live, we'll be having a drawing. And you have to be present to win, because I'll be asking you something. You got to answer it live. So stay tuned for that. I think the last one's at 7, isn't it? Yeah, 7 o'clock. So we'll be doing the round and then the triangle. That triangle is the one I'm excited about. Okay. All right, I don't see any other questions, and I hope everybody got on okay, and every time we go live we'll get a little easier, and if you have any questions, just shoot me a line, and I, after everything is said and done, after the course is done, everything will be loaded onto my website also, so everything will be nice and tidy right there for you. If I have time, I'll try to get some on there beforehand. But as I told you last night, I had to fire my person. He didn't work out. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you at 4 o'clock right here.